Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron Barber. I'm your race director for Elephant Mountain 2026. And this is going to be your video race brief. We'll be going over some important details about the race and what to expect for this weekend. To start, this is one of my favorite races to direct. I've been living in Arizona for 8 years and have been involved with this race for 6 years, twice as a runner, once as a volunteer, and 3 times as a director. So, pretty cool stuff there. I am honored to bring you this iteration of Elephant Mountain, and we're looking like a beautiful, if not a little warm day, but there is some water on the course for you longer distance people. This video race brief is going to be organized from most important to least important. So if you don't have time to listen to the whole thing, I'd appreciate it if you could listen to just the beginning of it. Once we start talking about courses and things like that, that's really just distance specific and more tips. We're going to start out with the really important things. And with that being said, we'll just get right into it. Parking is going to be the biggest issue. We do appreciate you all showing up. This is going to be the biggest Elephant Mountain ever by quite a large sum. Usually, this race attracts roughly 500 people, just under 490s ish the last couple years. This year, we have 630 registered. So, props to all the runners, and I appreciate you coming out to enjoy this beautiful course. But that will I wouldn't say throw a wrench into parking, but the park is pretty limited access. So let's kind of look at what we got over here. We will be at Cave Creek Regional Park in the horse staging area. You enter the park, and this is where we're at for Cave Creek Thriller as well. We'll go to the satellite. It's a little bit better. So it's this big dirt lot near the Ramadas. Back in the past, 3 years ago, the race used to be held over here. Now we're in the horse staging area the last couple years. So not everyone's going to be able to park inside the park. The longer distances will. So this is really important. 50 milers, yes, park in the park. 50K, yes, you can park in the park. 35K, yes, you can park in the park. Now we get to the 22K. I'm going to recommend that you use the remote parking area. And then the 12K and the 6K, it is required to use the remote parking area and you'll be shuttled into the park. There are some pros and cons to that. The Maricopa County Regional Parks have recently upped their fees to $10 per vehicle for entry. If you take our shuttles, they are free and you do not have to pay the entry fee. We will cover that cost for you. They charge us per bus load of people. So no fee if you are shuttling in, and I'll get to those details in just a moment. But let's go over our specific parking situation. If you're one of those longer distance people parking inside the park. So our race headquarters, it's not the biggest area. We're going to be kind of set up on this half. This other half over here, the west half, will be reserved for parking. Probably 20 to 30 cars can fit in here. And I'm assuming it will be all taken up by 50 milers. So if you're in the 50K, or even if you're showing up late for the 50 mile, it's probably not even worth it to try to park in here. This will be coned off once the lot fills up. But we can park in this Ramada area, right? It's a very, very short walk. And then if you go up on I think it's called the Tonalite Loop near the Gojon Trailhead, but we've got all the Gojon Trailhead parking and then all these like satellite lots if you keep driving around the loop. So if you're in the 50K or the 35K, last I counted, there was 220 spots available up here. So with that being said as well, if you are planning to come to the park to race, carpooling, strongly encouraged if you got someone else to run with, carpool the race. That will save money too on that entrance fee. And then if you're in the shorter distances, one more thing about inside the park, there's going to be no parking in the nature center. They're going to have that coned off, so don't even try to go there. Then the biggest thing is these big shoulders on the side of the road, not allowed to park there. They will also have that coned off. If you do park in a coned off area, you risk being towed. So just follow the signs. Don't park in coned off areas. Try to go in the Ramadas and the satellite lots in this loop. Or if you're really early, you can fit right in at the race headquarters. Now, if you're in a shorter distance race, we'll be utilizing, as we usually do, the rodeo grounds. So there will be a pin on the website and in the attached email. and we're gonna have some volunteers here because there is a rodeo the same day. The gates to the rodeo don't open till 11 a.m., so we should be majority out by then. But we're gonna try to fill in the back end of this parking lot first. So we're gonna start from the back and move forward, and then we will have our shuttles running. Just school buses provided by Cave Creek Unified School District. They're gonna be picking you up in this lot and then bringing you to the park. It's about a 7-minute drive, and the shuttles will start running at 6:30 a.m. So if you are in the 22K and you'd like to park at the remote lot, I'd recommend getting there early just to give yourself plenty of time. Maybe because those shuttles they fit 45 or 55 people, but they'll run consistently and keep going back and forth. There are multiple of them, so if you're in the 22K, you might maybe want to hit one of the first shuttles just to make it inside the park and give yourself. I mean, there's not much to do at the start finish area. We'll have coffee on the run and some light snacks at the aid station. But other than that, it's really just kind of standing around and watching the longer distance races start and listening to my voice on the microphone. But 22K recommended to park at that remote lot. And then the 12K and the 6K, they're not going to be starting until 8:15 and 8:30 respectively. So if arriving early still helps, but the shuttle starting at 6:30 should give everyone ample time to make it to the start on time. Moving on to bib pickup, we have two locations. Today is Wednesday when I'm filming this, and this email will be going out shortly after I'm done filming it. But bib pickup will be tomorrow, so Thursday, at Aravaipa headquarters. It is our drive-through style, or at the race site on Saturday. Both of those bib pickup locations also include late registration. If you know someone or they're asking about running in the event, yes, there are still spots available, and they can sign up at either of those locations. But those are our two bib pickup spots. No bib pickup on Friday, and that's just due to logistics for us moving stuff from one place to another. So Thursday at Aravaipa headquarters, Saturday at the park. Let's get into some more race specific stuff, and we'll talk about drop bags. So, drop bags, 50 milers, you're going to have drop bags. You can have it at the start finish, which you won't see except at the start and finish. But all distances will have an area for like warm clothes bags. So, even if you're in the 12K and you have a hoodie, we'll have an area for that. But we do want to keep them separate from like the 50K drop bags because 50K runners do come through the start finish, and just to keep that area less convoluted for them. There will be signage. I'll be making announcements, but just make sure you're putting your bags in the right area. As soon as you enter our little race headquarters area, you will be walking right by two tables for the remote drop bag areas. So it'll say, and this is super, super important, especially if you're in the 50K, because this happens all the time. There will be a pile for 7 Springs drop bags, and 7 Springs is not hit by the 50K. So it'll say 7 Springs drop bags, 50 mile only, and we'll have the mileage on it. The signs are clear as day, but don't just follow the crowd. Make sure you're looking. And then the other one is Spur Cross. Spur Cross, the 50 mile hits it twice, and the 50K hits it once. So Spur Cross drop bags, 7 Springs drop bags, those are your remote ones. Those will be on tables right as you enter the race headquarters. And then up by the start line, we'll have a warm clothes area. And then 50K runners, you'll also have an opportunity, a separate area to drop your specific drop bags for coming through the start finish. Drop bags, yeah, make sure you're reading the signs, putting them in the correct piles, because those ones that go up to 7 Springs, they won't be coming back until probably 3 p.m. At the earliest after we get that aid station broken down. It is an hour trek up there, so that is an aid station that doesn't get much resupply, and we don't do drop bag runs. So if you're in the 50 mile and you want your 7 Springs bags, it's going to be in the afternoon. Spur Cross will have some resupply runs. We'll try to get there as best we can to pick up drop bags. But again, drop bags aren't our priority to bring them back to the park. So if you're in the 50K and you're up near the front and you finish, I wouldn't expect your Spur Cross drop bag to be back. We can expedite that process by using the finished drop bag pile. So at the aid station, we'll have a cone. It'll say finished drop bags. If you're done using it, put it in that pile. That's our cue to load them onto the truck next time a truck is there and bring them back to the start finish. Moving on to Pacers. Pacers, all this information's on the website too. If you scroll down here, but Nothing for the 50K race or anything shorter than that. So 50 milers are the only ones with pacers. Seven Springs and Spur Cross 2, you can pick them up. So basically, the last half of your race, pacers are required. Like you have to provide your own transportation. We don't shuttle pacers. But on the other side, no pacer bib, no check-in or anything like that. You're just not allowed to mule or carry supplies for your runner. Weather this weekend is looking pretty warm. I think the last time I looked, the high was around 75, 77. Um, Shorter distances, you should be okay, keeping it early. Um, the longer you go in the afternoon, obviously it gets hot. And then especially you 50-mile runners, when you're doing this big loop up here, we'll get into this when we go through your course specifically, but Spur Cross to Seven Springs is a long stretch without aid. And then probably even worse, Seven Springs back to Spur Cross. This is going to be heat of the day, not a lot of protection from the sun, and it gets toasty. Like I said, I've run this race twice, and it has been really toasty warm on this return trip both times. So let's make sure we're loading up with water and getting prepared for some intense sun for the weekend. Let's move into specific courses. I will breeze through the short courses first, and then let's move up longer distances. And I'll probably try to tackle the longer distances all in one because there's a lot of races this weekend, 6 different distances, so a lot going on. So remember to follow our course marking signs. I always go through this at the start of the races, but orange ribbons are going to be marking the correct way to go, and then distance specific signage. But at this race, there are critical junctions and critical turns, so make sure we're reading our distance specific signage and not just following the people in front of us. Starting with the 6K, one of my favorite 6Ks on the circuit of the Dirt Series. So we're going to go straight out through the Gojon trailhead, all uphill, but it's not super technical. The trail's about as wide as a sidewalk, too. Let's change this to red so you can see it. Nice wide trail. You could probably run 2 abreast this whole climb. Once you get up and start heading back south, you're at the top of your climb. Then these last couple miles are just nice, smooth, wide trail and bombable downhill. Couple washes and rolling, very small rollers to work back to the finish line. But then you'll come in and finish. That's your 6K, super fun one. No aid for you 6K runners. So run fast, get done. We'll have our beer garden and our aid station open for you and waiting as you finish. 12K is going to be one loop. Here we go. Let's get that red. 12K is this whole loop with one very important out and back. So again, if you just follow the signs, you'll be good to go. So we're going to go straight out, and you'll see at the elevation graph down here, you climb right away. So once you hit this trailhead right here, about a quarter mile into your race, you start climbing up the Gojon Trail climb. It's got some switchbacks there. All the longer distances start with the same climb, so I'll breeze through that for the rest of your races. Once you hit the top of this climb, it's great switchbacky descent until you're at your park boundary, and that's going to be right here. So this is going to be a really important intersection. It's a big open area. There's a bench. There's a lot of signs in this area. But for you 12K runners, you are actually going to leave the park momentarily, and you're going to go through this Apache wash area. It's pretty rocky and technical, but it's in a wash, so some sand, some brush. There's an aid station that we put down in the wash, and you're going to turn around at the aid station. There's a timing mat. All you got to do is hit the timing mat. Even if you don't need the aid, you got to go over to the aid station and hit the timing mat, turn around, come back out of the wash, and then when you get back to this junction, you're going to be taking a stick to the left, and now you kind of get into a hilly area, and then on the elevation profile you see down here, probably your steepest, nastiest climb of the day is this section right here. It is short, but it is steep. After that, it's pretty easy. Even this little rise over here is not too bad, and then you'll be doing the same last couple miles as the 6K and coming, back into the main part of the park. Great views of downtown Cave Creek, Black Mountain, all that. And then these last couple miles downhill generally and bomb to the finish. 22K, similar to the 12K, but your out and back is just a tad longer. So let's pull up that profile. So same thing, starting going up Gojon climb, down Gojon, leave the park, go through that wash. Once you hit Gojon aid, you'll be continuing straight on the Maricopa Trail, and you're going to follow the longer distance races all the way to Roger Creek Aid. So after Go John Aid, I'll kind of get these details for you longer distances too. Leaving the aid station, we're actually going to be on the Maricopa Trail, cross Rockaway Hills Drive. This section here, when you're heading north, is pretty rocky and generally uphill. This is kind of an abandoned paved road. They haven't developed it yet. It's behind a gate, so there's no traffic. But we're going to be going north on this paved road and then following a fence line on the Maricopa Trail for around a mile to Roger Creek Aid Station. And then when you hit Roger Creek Aid Station, you do a U-turn and come back into the park. Same thing, down Maricopa Trail this time. Go John Aid for the second time. Upon entering the park, stick to the left. Same finish as the 12K. You got your little steep climb over here, and then you're bombing downhill descent to the finish. 35K, you probably got the easiest course to remember because this is a true out and back. So 35K runners, just you'll be on the same trail the entire time. Same start as the other races. Up Go John, down Go John, through the wash at the Aid, Maricopa Trail, rocky uphill, Roger Creek Aid. Then you're going to be having some more rocky uphill till you get to the actual Elephant Mountain Saddle, which is about right here. Elephant Mountain is this big thing just to the north of the course. You'll be able to see it during the day. It's big, over 4,000 feet tall. Big monolith. This descent down to Spur Cross is glorious. It is nice and it's net downhill, pretty smooth, fairly wide trail. And then you've got one water crossing. I was there last week. This is Cave Creek. There is a little footbridge, like a wooden bridge, and there is water there right now. There's not a lot, but there is some. So use the bridge right there. Small climb up to the Spur Cross aid station. Once you hit the aid, turn around and do the exact same thing coming back. So just make sure you're following 35K signs. The biggest junction for you runners, let's just overlay like the 22K, for example. So the 35K in orange here, you're going to be coming southbound. And once you enter the park at this big open area, you're going to be the only people sticking to the right. And it'll say 35K only. All the other distances go to the left. But just follow that and make sure you're doing a straight out and back. You're going to be working your way up the backside of Go John, and down the front to your finish. 50K. Let's get your course up. And again, sound like a broken record here. Same start as the other races. Excuse me. Up Go John, down Go John, through the wash, hit the aid station, up the Maricopa Trail to Roger Creek. Now you're going to continue past Roger Creek as well, past Elephant Mountain Saddle, long downhill to Spur Cross. You'll have a drop bag opportunity at Spur Cross. Turn around, make your way back up to Elephant Mountain Saddle, through Roger Creek, Maricopa Trail, Go John, enter the park just like all the other distances do. Make your way around back into the park. You're going to hit the finish, but you're not done yet. So you actually run to the finish line, through the aid station, turn around, back up Go John, and do that loop one more time. So basically, you're just following the 12K loop. We're not going to require you to go out to Go John Aid on the second time for the 50K. So this will be a first time through, second time through type situation with signage. So just make sure you're looking at that. And keep in mind that that last 7-ish miles is without aid for the 50K. Not quite 7, but almost. But you're going to be doing the whole loop. This will all be trails that you've done before. So one big out to Spur Cross, back this way, and then one more loop of the park. 50 mile, one of my favorite races ever. This was my first ultra way back in 2021 or something like that. And your course is pretty unique for half of it, I'd say. First half is just like everyone else. You're going to start going up that Go John Trail all the way to Spur Cross, just like everyone else. Now, when you guys get to Spur Cross, things get real. So stock up because you've got almost 12 miles without aid leaving Spur Cross. It'll still should be morning hours, but it's going to be a hot day. This first 2.5 or so miles leaving Spur Cross is in the Spur Cross conservation area. You're going to cross Cave Creek a couple times. There are some spots with water. You can generally keep your feet dry because it is not flowing super fast right now. And then you're going to leave um, the conservation area and enter Tonto National Forest. And that's where this race becomes very unique and really fun. If you like really like backcountry adventure type races, it gets really rough back there. So you'll probably get cut up by catclaw. Um, Sometimes it's hard to follow the trail, and it's longer stretches without aid. But the views are gorgeous, and it's super fun. Before I get too much into the course, I do want to mention a harsh reality that we've had with this race. There has been course vandalism on this loop, like 3 of the past 4 years. Sometimes it's worse than others. Sometimes it's not bad. We're doing what we can to mitigate it this year. I won't say what we're doing out loud, but we are marking the course differently and at different times and stuff like that. So we're not um, putting it out on Thursday with less of a chance to have it vandalized. Um, but we're doing everything in our possibility to make sure the course doesn't get vandalized and you can follow the course markings. With that being said, that's just the reality of what this race has been. So I'd highly recommend having the route on a watch, on a phone. I wish everyone could just follow the course markings, but unfortunately, that hasn't been true the last couple of years. But we will do absolutely everything we can to keep those course markings up for you. But just prepare to that. Um, that's it's a crappy situation, but it's the world we live in these days. People aren't always the most friendly to our races, even though they're held under permit, and we go about things the right way and try to leave the courses better than when we found them. Anyways, leaving, entering Tonto National Forest, you're going to climb uphill on Trail 4. You're doing basically a big loop around Skull Mesa. This is a lot of cow paths and stuff around here. Once you hit about your 16, 17-mile mark, you start descending down into Skunk Creek Canyon. One of my favorite sections and super unique. Not a lot of people travel up here, but this is all um, following a creek. It's usually pretty green, depending on the amount of water flow. There are waterfalls, and it's just a really, really unique section all the way to Seven Springs. You're going to do a short out and back to the Seven Springs aid station. There is a restroom here it's like a trailhead, so there is a restroom up at Seven Springs. You'll have a drop bag, and you can pick up a pacer there. If your crews are willing to drive up there, it's about an hour drive from the start line. They're welcome to see you there as well. Excuse me. Do you turn at Seven Springs? One last water crossing would be right here where and you can even see on the satellite just how green it is down here. Um, just an awesome area. There's a good chance you see a lot of cows up there too. I've been stuck behind cows and horses on these trails a couple times. So it's just part of Elephant Mountain. Um, yeah, move with caution with those guys. You'll do that last water crossing and then you'll start climbing. If you want to know about the course, I'd say the return trip is more difficult than the outbound trip, even though it looks like you're traveling uphill the whole way to Seven Springs. This return trip, yes, it's net downhill, but it is lumpy. It's more exposed. There's less trees. It's more scrub brush and manzanita type stuff, and it does get warm. But climb out of Seven Springs. Right around here, there's some pretty short and steep climbs, and then you'll make your way back into like the Cave Creek area. And usually this part right here has water. I know on a really hot year, I've laid down like right here after that long 12, 13-mile stretch from Seven Springs. And then you've got you're going to be multiple water crossings here till you make it to Spur Cross the second time. Leaving Spur Cross, you're going to have to go back up to Elephant Mountain Saddle. And this is doing it last week. It's about 3.5 miles with 700 feet of gain. And it'll be tough on tired legs at about mile 37 to 40. Then it's downhill to Roger Creek. In the past, we've closed this aid station after the first pass, but it will be open all day for 50-mile runners. Coming back from Roger Creek, it's a little rocky in here. You'll hit Gojon Aid. That'll be your final aid station. You got one last little test, and that's a steep little kicker on the north end of the park. And then you start coming back to Civilization. It gets less rocky. The trails get wider. You start running downhill, and just a couple miles to go of downhill smooth trails. Gorgeous course. One of my favorite ones that we put on, especially in the Phoenix metro area. It does not feel like a dirt series race. It feels like a destination type event where that you travel to, but just gorgeous up there. Can't talk enough about how awesome that course is. That is about all I've got for the race brief. A lot of other information can be just found on the website. So just make sure you're going through all that. It's got the aid stations, mileage listed on that, pacer information, all that, and what to expect on race day. But if you have any other questions, I'll be on site mostly for the rest of the week. This video is going to be attached to an email. Um, Feel free to reply to that email, and I will check it periodically. But I can't wait to see you all out there. Thank you so much, and I'm ready for an awesome weekend. Thanks a lot, everyone.